Hello. So I realised I never actually did a reaction trailer to any of the Cruella trailers, and I dropped one today. So even though I'm midway for my dinner, we're gonna do a reaction to the Cruella trailers. We're gonna be very quick because I have to go film a bunch of dialogue for a film, which is why I'm dressed like this. But I also think it's kind of appropriate wear to dress for a Cruella film. But yeah, Cruella is obviously the latest in a series of Disney live action, either remakes or readaptations or retellings or whatever you want to do of classic Disney animation films. And I grew up watching, watching 101, 102 Dalmatians, reading 100 and whatever Dalmatians. Um, like reading like the adaptive books and stuff. Like I understand like there's the thing where also it's part of my childhood through and through. So let's speed through this so I can finish my dinner and then fill my scenes before I lose any energy. Hopefully this works this time because I remember yesterday I accidentally routed the audio both through two speakers so you could hear it twice, which wasn't great. But let's go ahead.
From the very beginning, I realized I saw the world differently than everyone else. That didn't sit well with some people. But I wasn't for everyone. I guess they were always scared that I'd be a psycho. But a new day brings new opportunities. And I was ready to make a statement. How does the saying go? I am woman, hear me roar. I'm just getting started, darling. The thing is, I was born brilliant, born fast, and a little bit mad. I'm Cruella.
So that was the first trailer. I don't know if I should go through it trailer by trailer first, or watch them all. I guess we can scrub. I don't know if there's really much to scrub through. I guess it's not like any of the sci-fi trailers that I do where it's like a lot of like nerdy things that I can kind of dig out details of. I just want to double check something. So yeah, for me, there's obviously there's a few kind of very because Cruella the villain is one of them. Like, I guess one of a very distinct Disney villain, and she's one of the few Disney villains who isn't actually a witch or something like that, or even indeed an evil stepmother. Just trying to remember who previously portrayed them. Was there ever an animated 102 Dalmatians? Or did I just make that up? No, that was just a film. So, Betty Lou Gerson voiced Cruella de Vil in the animated 101 Dalmatians that came out in 1961. And the voice, like that character is terrifying. The animation behind the character is grotesque and is all the terrifying it needs to be for young children. And then obviously the voice behind it is of a similar level. And famously, Glenn Close played her in the live action adaptations, which was 101 Dalmatians in 1996 and 102 Dalmatians in 2000. And like I think in terms of live action portrayals of Cruella de Vil, she's probably the most definitive. I'm saying that I've not seen any other live-action portrayals of Cruella de Vil because I've not watched Once Upon a Time and Descendants, which outside of the musical adaptation is apparently the only other live-action appearances of the character. But you know, she's very distinct. Also, it took me a while. And I guess this is the thing that goes over the heads of small children. But I don't know when it was, I don't know how old I was, but I do distinctly remember the day I realised DeVille was meant to be devil, and how proud I was of myself. So, be proud of me, I guess, for spotting this insidiously in-your-face plain pun. Emma Stone is a fantastic actress. She you know, She's perhaps not been some of the best things, but Emma Stone is a great actress. Is Emma Stone's American, right? I'm getting that right. She's an American actress. Yeah, she's American. I can't fault the accent in this trailer. That being said, I am fairly terrible at recognizing bad accents, so that doesn't really mean much coming from me. But so I guess this is meant to be a origin story for Cruella. It doesn't seem to be retelling the story of 101 Dalmatians. It seems to be telling kind of why she is. I feel somewhat obligated and not hugely reluctant to call out the use of the sanist slur, psycho, although I suppose this is a work of fiction, and I guess it depends on which context it's used and what degree we should be. It's a protagonist who's using it, and there is a problematic nature of describing women as psychos. So I feel you need to comment slightly on that, but I don't know what context the phrase is being used in, and also, you know, if you're a antagonistic or you know, on the morally kind of negative side of the spectrum, and I'm sure there's a better way of saying those words, and you do bad things, you're not meant to be a role model. And maybe I should bring up the Wikipedia page for this, because I've not actually followed the press of this quite closely. It seems to be the case a lot now that Disney adapt old materials, and I don't know if it's just me not paying attention or something else, but they seem to sneak up on you. So I didn't realize. Whoa, did not mean to move that screen. Put you back there. I was trying to move myself down so I can get rid of this. There we go. So I haven't really been following much of what's what. So this is set in 1970 in a punk-rock revolution, is what the premise on Wikipedia says. I don't know who it's quoting from. It's not cited, which is a bit bad. Okay, well, actually, this is interesting in itself. So let me just read out what Wikipedia claims as a premise, even though there's literally no citation for who's actually saying this. In Cruella, which is set in 1970s London amidst the punk-rock revolution, follows a young grifter named Estella, a clever and creative girl determined to make a name for herself with her designs. She befriends a pair of young thieves who appreciate her appetite for mischief, and together they are able to build a life for themselves on the London streets. One day, Estella's flair fashion catches the eye of a Baroness von Hellman. Hellman, they're not really subtle here, are they? Hellman, a fashion legend who is devastatingly chic and terrifyingly hot. But their relationship sets in motion a course of events and revelations which will call Estella to embrace a wicked side and become a raucous, fashionable revenge belt Cruella. So it's an origin story. Yeah. So I guess it's kind of, it's much like what Maleficent was, I suppose. It's kind of a retelling, and it's going for that. It has a lot of Tim Burton-ness to it, but I don't know if that's because Cruella as a character is very Tim Burton-esque through and through. Let's just go through and see if there's anything which I do actually pick out. So these two characters are Jasper and Horace Badden. I don't know if they got surnames in the original, but these are actually kind of, I guess, I guess this might be an adaptation in the original animated and in a live action adaptation, my introduction to the comic foil as a pair trope that is inherently Shakespearean, so not a new thing. But like one of the things that went over my head as a child was the fact that Hugh Laurie and Mark names Mark Williams played them in the live action thing, and obviously when I first watched this, I didn't know who either of those two actors were. I didn't know who Hugh Laurie. That was probably, I don't know. It depends if I watched Stuart Little before 101 Dalmatians. If I did, when that was my first introduction to Hugh Laurie, who now I've seen like a whole bunch of things, and I don't know if I saw 101. I almost certainly saw 101 Dalmatians before Harry Potter came out. So, Chamber of Secrets in 2002. So, I can remember the year Harry Potter and Chamber of Secrets came out, but I can't remember Mark Williams' surname. But so yeah, so obviously they're not reprising the role. These may be different characters. I don't know actually. I don't know if this is meant to exist in the same continuity as 101 Dalmatians, or if it's meant to exist in a different continuity. Or because obviously Maleficent is set in a different continuity to Sleeping Beauty. And then I think most of the other adaptations are shot-for-shot remakes. I think this might be the only one which is not a remake. It's an adaptation. It's a retelling. So, yeah, but so I don't know if these are meant to be the same characters. I suppose from what we can see of the body types in here, they do kind of have similar. Like you've got the more kind of stout, larger body build character and the more thinner character. But then that's the same thing as I had in the original animation, so it doesn't tell you much. It took me a while to realise this was Emma Thompson. Well, it took me a while to realise. I didn't realise until I read it in the Wikipedia article. Maybe because I'm just not used to seeing Emma Thompson. I thought I recognised them, but I guess a lot of the faces covered, and I didn't really, with brunette hair, I didn't really recognise Emma Thompson. Emma Thompson has a tendency to appear in a lot of films with other co-stars who are also called Emma, doesn't she? It happens with frequency. So the cast is quite good. It depends if the script is there to benefit them. Because I also spotted where is he? Mark Strong, who I love. I always love seeing Mark Strong in things. I think he's a brilliant actor. So it's very much a film with a cast split between British actors and American actors. Glenn Close is executive producing the film, as well as Emma Stone. That's interesting. It's nice, I guess, when people who care a lot about the characters actually, produce films about the characters. Interesting. So maybe if Glenn Close is like producing it, that means that it exists in the same continuity. That would be nice. But other than that, I mean, I can tell the demographic here. It's the same demographic, I guess, who are very interested in films, which I've not 100% seen, but I guess Confessions of a Shopaholic, I think, is the film I'm thinking of. Legally Blonde. I think they're called chick flicks, right? Is that what we call them? I don't know if that's a pejorative way to refer to a film or not, or if that's a legit way to refer to a film. I guess that there is some degree of gender bias towards it, as if a film that is with a strong female character cannot be enjoyed by a male audience, which is obviously completely ridiculous. So yeah, it's basically monologues, basically kind of like, well, this is it's basically, a very empowering speech about herself, which is great. If not a bit cringily written, but it's a Disney film, so let's give it credit where it's due, I guess. I do like this whole contrast. I mean, it's not a thing new. I think the idea of having a monotonous image with red highlights is a very common thing in a lot of imagery. Okay, well, maybe I just don't know what chick flicks are, which is probably also the case. I guess I don't. I don't really know what chick flicks are, probably both because I'm not really engaged in a lot of what they probably actually are, and I've not really cared much for the term either. So I mean, yeah, I wonder. So it says it's going to be a crime comedy drama, so that sounds like it's going to be a heist film, and I love heist films. So I guess the genre is actually heist film. I guess a heist film with Cruella de Vil is quite an interesting concept, actually. And the set design, I don't know. It doesn't feel anything special. I mean, the makeup looks great. Like this looks like Cruella de Vil. But I don't know. Nothing about the set design, which is what we're getting a lot of shots at, and like different things seem massively out there. Right, let's just move on to the next trailer, because I'm very conscious of the amount of things I have to do. So the next one is a sneak peek, although it's also a minute long.
It's a world of opportunity. And I was meant for more in this life. I want to make art. And I want to make trouble.
Whether you have the killer instinct is the big question.
I hope I do. I am woman. Hear me roar.
All right, we should put on some music or something. Lighten the mood.
I mean, that was a more energetic trailer, that's for sure. Which is nice. I like a more energetic trailer. It gets you pumped up regardless of whether or not it's actually anything of substance there. I guess much like a fizzy drink. To get a bit more backstory, obviously it's very much a rag to riches tale. Is that the phrase we're going for here? Rag to riches tale. So we kind of see Cruella or Estella. Is it Stella? I don't know. Yeah, Cruella, Estella. Doing kind of manual labor. Which I mean is a bit. This whole thing seems a bit slapstick comedy for me, but maybe in the context of the film it'll come across much better. Can't never judge a film by its trailer, to be honest. But I do like the kind of fast beat to it. And this whole kind of scene I actually think is quite funny. I suppose it'll hopefully be funnier in actual film if we're given a reason to dislike Emma Thompson's character. We get a better shot also of the actors who play Jake, Jasper, and Horace. And actually, they seem very similar. I wouldn't say he looks like a young Hugh Laurie, because we know what young Hugh Laurie looks like, but the build and the kind of hair and everything actually looks very similar to the original character, so I guess it is kind of set in the same continuity, hopefully. More Dalmatians, which is odd because it's a prequel, then it's kind of like, is this where her obsession with Dalmatians came from? Was it because she didn't like this person who apparently owned a lot of Dalmatians? Who wrote the film? Is there anyone we know? Who's directing the film? Is that anyone we know? Craig Gillespie. Don't know what he's done. It's not a female director. Now in this image, look a lot less kind of like the image that I'd hoped for. Right, well let's look at the final trailer and see what thoughts we get from that.
Let me give you some advice. You can't care about anyone else. Everyone else is an obstacle. You care what an obstacle wants or feels, you're dead. If I'd cared about anyone or thing, I might have died. You have the talent. Whether you have the killer instinct is the big question.
She thought she owned everyone.
It's foolish. Unhinged. Well, you're fired. Why are you speaking?
I think you nicked me. But there's something about poetic justice that's just so poetic.
You won't admit you love me, and so how
The overlight.
ever to know? You always tell me.
Get her.
This doesn't have to be a scene.
It really, really does. I'd like to remind you all that I'm doing this in heels.
What was your name?
Cruella.
If you can make your mind up, we'll never get started.
I want to make trouble. You in?
I do love trouble.
Being part
You have a bit of an extreme side. Yes, darling. And what fun that is.
She stole my dogs.
I guess you must hate her.
She has made it me or her. And I choose me.
don't tell me.
Don't worry. There's lots more bad things coming.
Perhaps.
I mean, that was, yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that trailer. A bunch of different trailers had different kind of like tones to it, didn't they? They kind of changed it along. Yeah, this one actually has me more. I mean, I was never not interested in it. But I had some skepticism in the previous trailers. I should stop slouching over. I'm going to wrap my back. I had some skepticism in the previous trailers that kind of dropped from this one. So we get a bit more kind of nuance of plot. So it seems that what happens is she gets noticed by, what's the character called? Baroness von Hellman, who then kind of employs her to kind of be a designer for her, but then fires her presumably because of slight or because Stella is too confident or too kind of self-imposing or whatever. It's actually pretty good, decent reasons for having a very weird name like Cruella. It's your brand name. And then so then, basically Cruella de Vil launches fashion war on Baroness von Hellman, and I think that's actually a good recipe for some top tier banter, and I guess that's what we want in a film like this, some top tier banter. So yeah, no, I'm definitely kind of interested to see. Well, yeah, I think it's got legs. I don't think it's gonna be anything spectacular, but I think it'll kind of be entertaining. It'll be a good time. I still need to watch Silma. We need to watch Mulan. I'm way behind. I've not even watched the Beauty and the Beast remake. I'm way behind on that. Well, those are my quick thoughts on these three trailers. I'm going to wrap up because I have to finish the rest of my pasta and then go film a scene. So I'm going to go do that. But let me know what you think. Comes out on the 28th of May, apparently, on both Disney Plus. Because everything's now coming out on both Disney Plus and I think it's coming out on Disney Plus and also theatres nowadays, but I'm probably still going to see in a theatre because that's where I think films should be seen. I think you lose a lot. With certain films, you definitely lose a lot. Interstellar, you lose a lot if you don't want to see in films in theatre. I guess that's Nolan films in general. That's my thoughts on the trailer. Let me know what you think. Are you excited about the film, or is it just another kind of grog in the whole Disney live-action adaptation remix? That's pretty much all we're doing. Let me know what you think, and I will see you probably at this rate on Friday after the next episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So see you then, and night.